I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in, skip all the introductory stuff.
Sure.
We have lots to talk about. But just to introduce myself, I know we did exchange emails, but I am Paige, and I've been working for the company for a little bit over 2 years, and longer as a contractor, I helped with some of the Science A to Z material. So I definitely have been around the company for a long time. I'm happy to talk to you today. We're going to do very quick. I'm going to be talking.
That's fine.
But if you see something interesting, you want me to pause, let me know, and
Sure.
I'm happy to do that.
Great.
All right. Then we'll go ahead and start from the Learning A to Z website homepage, just because there's often lots of confusion between the various programs, and we hear terms used interchangeably. So just to kind of clarify, Learning A to Z is the parent company that provides the following website to help with reading, writing, and science content and skill instruction, along with another one. I don't know what has quite happened to it, but they just launched Ready Test 2. So you might see Ready Test A to Z floating around somewhere.
Okay.
And that's the computer-based testing program.
Okay.
But we're going to focus on Reading A to Z first, which is the teacher-based site. So Reading A to Z is all reading instruction, but for teachers to access. And then Raz Kids is reading instruction for kids to access.
Okay.
So we'll look at the teacher side first with Reading A to Z. And here you'll see we're moving towards this format for all of our websites, but right now it's going to be just Reading A to Z Raz Kids and Head Sprout with this kind of 4-button organization at the top. And so Reading A to Z is organized with all the resources from the drop-down menu so that teachers could have ease of use in finding resources based off of their need versus searching through tabs. So they'd be able to say, I need a foundational skill resource, so I'm going to look at foundational skills, and here I can find my alphabet book, my fluency support,
Right.
my phonics work, all of that from my pop-out menu. Then here you'll see a file cabinet. I bet most of your teachers have a big 0 right here because a lot of people don't know it even exists. And what this is kind of a e-file system. So whenever I go through my site, I can save the resources or books that I like into specific folders that I set up. That way I don't need to kind of remember where I was or print it once I find it because I might lose it again. Instead, I can set up based off of, comprehension skill or maybe reading blocks or specific content.
That's
and
great.
Then within that folder, save the books that I like. And that's the file cabinet. When I show you a few resources, I'll show you how the things get saved there.
Okay.
Then the Manage Students button will pop up for your teachers because they do have Raz Kids. On a Reading A to Z level, you don't really need to look at it. It's just if I'm on Reading A to Z and it makes me think I want to hop over to Raz Kids, I can do it quickly from here.
Okay.
And then we have the Teacher Corner. The Teacher Corner is going to have additional training support, some videos, but the thing that your teachers would probably look at and need the most would be some curriculum standards. So we could go Common Core, and I can pick my grade and find all of the standards that
Oh, wow.
I'm using, and then press that standard link, and it'll give me the books that meet that
Oh, that's great.
So just to show you where that was, again, it was underneath the Teacher Corner. I can move my box. There we go. Underneath the Teacher Corner, curriculum correlations, Common Core standards. It's also actually on the home page as well.
Okay.
If I go to Reading A to Z, it's right here, resource correlation.
Okay.
And then additionally from that, above the curriculum standards, we have leveling information. So this would be if they've used other programs like Fountas and Pinnell or DRA to level their students, they could download this chart and then they wouldn't need to use any sort of different system for their Reading A to Z level.
Okay.
And talking about the leveling does bring us to the most common resource used on Reading A to Z, which is the leveled books. I just wanted to very quickly show you that these can be quickly narrowed down. If I look at all my leveled books, there are more than 1,200 books, and that's quite a lot.
Right.
I can narrow it down to the level by hovering over the letter. It'll show me kind of what levels I'm looking at. So I can pick a few that would fit my student needs and then filter my options so I can start looking at 100 books instead of 1,200 books.
Oh, okay.
And then I can use my filter options and say I need an informational text. Now I'm down to 43, and maybe I want a Common Core supplement, and I can bring it down to 20.
Great.
I do want to just highlight to make sure that if you're talking to teachers and needing to know, you can clear the filters to kind of start over because they will save. But then you come back and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, right.
I need more than this.
That's nice. I like that.
So clear filters. All right, so then from here I wanted to show you the book resources that are available. First off, we see this green file cabinet, and that's how you save to your file cabinet. So if I would like this book, I want to save it for later, I can press that little icon and then pick one of my folders to save it in. So I might put it in a folder, press add, and it's saved there successfully. And then if I were to ever try and save it again, it's going to kind of gray it out, so that tells me I've already done it. I already have it somewhere. Our standard leveled books all come in many formats, including single-sided, double-sided pocketbooks. So that's going to be half the size and half the paper. And then projectables. So we could do a class-wide lesson with the book. The projectables do include interactive tools because maybe teachers more and more have projectors but still don't have the smart boards or the videos. So we have included it within the projectable.
Oh, that's great.
And so if we look, there's drawing, text, stamps, and then hide and view, hide and show. And these are available for all, I'd say 90% of the Reading A to Z resources, 100% of the books.
Great.
But additionally, some of the supporting lessons and anything new that is added comes in a projectable format, and then all the Science A to Z material too. And then there will be additional writing resources, whether it be a wordless book or a writer's response. We could hop over to the ebook on Kids. I'm going to do that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to show you that it does come with a full lesson plan, a Common Core supplement, which I wanted to open up. Because if you're looking at getting deeper in the text, this would be the one you'd want to reference. The guided reading is going to be a little more surface, whereas the Common Core supplement is going to get a lot deeper in the text and point out the academic vocabulary within the text, important text features to identify and discuss, and then text-dependent questions already created for the teacher.
Great.
And I would use these as like essential questions, these level 3 ones. So if you see there's like level 1, 2, and 3, each level is going to be kind of a step away from the text. So level 1, the answer is directly in one sentence in the text. A level 2, they're going to have to probably look a couple places. Level 3 is going to be take many places from the book and make an overarching conclusion from it.
Okay.
And then we have, each one's going to come with a specific graphic organizer too.
Cool.
Additionally, all the level books do have worksheets to support it, specific themes that are, or skills that are identified. This one has classifying information. I'm going to show you how we could tie in some other resources, but I also wanted to show you, since you have vocabulary, you could pop this pre-made vocabulary lesson too. This is going to be made off of the story words. So that's the words that are in the story that are bolded and already identified as vocabulary. I could press that pre-made lesson. You guys do have it as vocab. And it'll pop up with flashcards and worksheets.
Great. Wow.
Okay, so this one focused on classifying information. So what I wanted to do was show you that there are additional classifying information lessons we could use to support that theme. And you could even just use it in the search box. So if I put in classify information to support that specific comprehension need, I can see that there are comprehension skill packs. So these are not books. They are little breakout mini lessons.
Okay.
And as you can see, it's on many of the comprehension skills that students need support with. And I could identify specifically the classify information one. There is a whole lesson plan that teachers could follow. If not, they could just choose the pieces as they would like. And they have kind of a mini lesson that would teach them how to teach and notate classifying information. And then I could see the reading A to Z provided sample. Again, we understand teachers may have their own way of doing this, so this is a completely optional addition, or it could be used kind of like as a center activity with the kids self-checking by giving this somewhere as like a hidden key, and then give them some ownership during their work on the comprehension skill.
Excellent.
And it comes with a model passage for the group and then a practice passage so that the students can do their independent work. And it's going to be new. The same idea.
Right.
Now, when we think about classifying information, it does kind of bring me to the thought, like all of this information, I talked about the table of contents and classifying information. It's all in the work to kind of have the kids create a foundation of understanding for their reading. And I wanted to show you one other thing that helps with that, which is the visual devices.
Okay.
These do come K-1. I've been showing you all first grade material, but it is available for the older grade levels. Kind of the grade I chose. But then you could also help your themes, whether it be classifying information, looking at a table, with the visual device lessons. And it's going to be the same idea that I just showed you with kind of this group lesson and then a mini lesson or independent practice.
Okay.
And it's going to focus on specific visual things that students will see.
Great.
So the reason I wanted to show that one is because these are actually fantastic ties to hop over to our science material.
Okay.
So from here, we could use this, whether it be analyzing or classifying information or any of our visual device lessons, to support the Science A to Z materials that you said you all did have access and interest in. So I can hop over here and I'll give you the layout with this one. It does look different.
Okay.
There are 4 major domains for the Science A to Z site. Starting with the process lessons. The process lessons are going to be the foundational skills for science, such as using tools in the scientific method lessons. So we could pair up our classification lesson in language arts with some classification or observation and inference with our science to kind of hit on similar skills within both of our time frames. If I open that up you'll see that everything in Science A to Z does come with at least one, if not more, process activities. And a process activity is going to be kind of like a lab experiment.
Okay.
The hands-on part. At the first grade level, it's going to be very teacher-based, so this is for the teacher, and then it will provide student-friendly worksheets and answer sheets. So here's the student-friendly portion where they put their answers. And then additionally, any reading material Science A to Z offers comes in a 3-level system of low, mid, and high. So that means that within the K through 2 grade span, there is a low level, mid level, and high level reading for the same content.
Okay.
Which is fantastic for differentiating.
Yes.
And one of the things I love about this science, to be fair, I was a science teacher, but what is fantastic about all of this is that it is actually grade level appropriate reading. When I was teaching, my reading material that I had from my textbook was 4 grade levels above their reading level, and they were all below reading level to begin with. So needless to say, the textbook was pretty much useless in helping with understanding.
Right.
But that's where Science A to Z comes in handy, because it is all already differentiated for you at the appropriate grade level reading.
That's great.
And I can bump down to the low version if need be. Everything is going to come with discussion cards or additional support worksheets. So if I want to support my observation and inference lesson with a practice worksheet, it is provided for you. And then I could even hop to the actual content. So physics and chemistry, earth science, life science, I can find an actual unit. I'll open up animals, and this will show you how we have 2, 4, 6. Oh no, this one has 4 process activities. Again, vocabulary cards that are pre-made for you. They are available on Science A to Z as well. I mean, on Vocabulary A to Z as well, with the whole entire worksheet, all that support. Unit quiz. But I wanted to show you the nonfiction books. So this is what I was saying would be fantastic resources. You can open up these nonfiction books, have them at low, medium, and high, but still have the high content that you need to address with your science time. Now I can go down to supporting materials, and we're going to see a plethora of extra information, including little 1-page quick reads. So that's going to be, instead of a whole entire book, let's just read one passage.
Oh, okay.
And that could be a great way to just kind of intersperse it within your reading time, or maybe get deeper with a specific idea. So with animals, maybe you want to talk specifically about the shells and skin. That is a common kind of next generation science standard idea. Beyond that, we have investigation packs, which are these kind of like if you have a group, each group gets their own passage and has to learn about a central idea within their own passage, and then they come together as a larger group to see if they got all the information right. So this one's about what animals need. So a student would read a passage with that question in mind. I'm reading about leafcutter ants to find out what animals need in order to survive. And I'll use that information with my answer sheet, which is right there. So you can see it's very text dependent, and it works on your speaking and listening and group skills too. As I look to answer this key question, I have to find text evidence to support my answer. And then after I've done that, I'll work with my group, and my group combines all our answers to come up with a larger, more applicable answer to the whole animal kingdom.
Right.
And then after that, you as a class would discuss if we missed anything, do we need to reevaluate our answer, and complete the cycle of answering this key question. Additionally, beyond that investigation pack, I did want to point out there are STEM-focused books.
Okay.
So these books are going to be full-on books, but specific content. So that's sort of like those quick reads where it's not going to be a unit book. It is going to be more specific than that. But then additionally, it will be longer. And they come with activities and questions that are at the end of the book. So we have a focused question, how do animals live in the ground? And then we'll go ahead and read about that and answer some questions at the back and maybe do a STEM activity. And that's in our Be a Scientist at the end. Beyond all of that, there are additional video clips, there are additional worksheets, student material. We have a debate here, anticipation set. I mean, every group is going to be a little bit different for your units, but every unit does at least have discussion cards, career files, and a debate. And then additionally, you have some extras.
Okay.
A paired fiction book, so you can make a fiction, nonfiction leap. And then additional science materials or teacher materials, which include game packs for review games, a huge collection. If you download the all nonfiction graphic organizers, that's like a 40-page PDF of graphic organizers that you could use. And then we could tie back our discussion to our Learning A to Z sites by looking at Learning A to Z connections and seeing what books in my Reading A to Z collection might support my science discussion. So that is generally the review of science. There's definitely still more, but I don't want to go completely over the top. Do you have any questions about it?
No, that's very comprehensive. Thank you.
Okay. So then I'm going to hop out very quickly, go back to RASKids, and if we think back, your teachers do have RASKids. RASKids is the student interactive site of Reading A to Z. So if you look right there, it's what students get on the computer. They can listen to a book. They can read and record themselves. And then they take a comprehension quiz. So as a student, I log in. I can teacher set optional passwords.
Okay.
And then I do want to warn you, this one has everything under the sun turned on, so it is going to be a little over the top.
Okay.
But so you all won't have the headshot or the ready test. You'll have that's right here. So a student is assigned a level by the teacher, and then they'll be working in their assignment. And in their assignment, they get to listen to a book that is animated for them. Then they get to read and record the book. And then they take the comprehension quiz. With all of that, they earn stars in progress.
Cool.
And with the stars, they get to kind of have an internal reward system, and their stars allow them to kind of decorate their avatar robot or go in and decorate their Raz rocket as kind of the internal reward system.
Right.
I haven't done anything with this one. Now, this does tend to be very popular, so that means that teachers do have access to turn it off. So teachers can control these and take it off or maybe only make it available for weekends.
Okay.
It is in their control to redirect the kids if they spend too much time in there.
Okay.
So when I assign a student to a level, they are going to get a specific set of titles in their assignment area that Learning A to Z has predetermined for them. Since you guys have Reading A to Z and RAS Kits, that means you have this book room available, and in the book room you'll have e-versions of every single book that is on Reading A to Z that's added. So that means that this book we looked at before on Reading A to Z, it is not in my assignment, but I could still get my students to look at it in the book room, and here they could open it up, and we could talk about it as a class.
Okay.
Where do people live? So there is tracking for the reading to show students in support with fluency and vocabulary. Oh. Then when they open up the independent read, there's the record option. It is optional, so teachers can determine whether or not they want that to happen.
Okay.
And after they record, they can send it to the teacher, or they can listen to themselves again. And then they take that comprehension quiz. Then finally, with RAS Kids, teachers have control over the levels they can explore. So if you see all these grayed out, I can't access any of these levels, which means I can't kind of go back just to earn stars with stuff I know I can read.
Right.
I can't just explore beyond myself. Instead, I can kind of challenge myself, but I'm not going to go too far.
Right.
And that's the same with all these additional books. So not everybody's going to have all of these, and a teacher can take it away or turn it on when they want. So all of that control happens on the teacher side. So when I log out and I log in as a teacher, that happens from the roster page. So that's going to be managed students on the roster page. They get to turn it off straight from here, so we can see to the right classroom settings, the book room, the Spanish books, and the RAS Rocket. And I can turn it on or off for the whole class or for individual students from the roster page.
So when you're signed out of that, that's where the students can access it?
Yeah, so each roster comes with student login cards that are pre-made, so it'll tell the students what website to go to.
Oh, okay, great.
So it's just radkids.com login. Yep. All of mine got changed around, actually. And then, do you have any questions about RAS Kids? I know that was quick, but
no, it's pretty self-explanatory when you get in there. It seems like it's pretty easy to navigate, so it looks good.
Okay, great. Well, I know you need to head out. I just wanted to show you very quickly vocabulary A to Z, where you find those pre-made lessons if you go separately for reading.
Yeah, I still have about 10 minutes, so we're okay, I think. So take your time if you have to.
So if I hop to vocabulary A to Z, I could see a tab that says pre-made lessons.
Okay.
This is going to have pre-made lessons for some reading series, but also my science and my reading A to Z.
Oh, okay.
So I can click my level or my unit and find the book that I used, which is right here. It's the first one. And I could print it out from Reading A to Z. I could download it as is, which is going to be the same as the one I just downloaded from Reading A to Z. But what I wanted to show you is you can also edit. I'm going to choose Edit Lesson, and that means that I could take books I could take words away or add different words. So if I don't want explore on there, I could exit off of my list, but still have a starting point, and I'm not starting from scratch. Maybe take off strange, and now I have my own list that I want to focus on. And then you can save your new lesson. I'm going to say, and add all these additional worksheets. So that's why I wanted to show you you could edit it, because the edit isn't going to give you this generic lesson plan or the photo cards. And I always err in the direction of too much, and then I can always decide not to print it.
Okay.
The lesson plan is a one-time only deal. It's very long. It's like a 20-page lesson plan. So you don't need it every time, but I just wanted to show you their one.
Oh, wow.
And this comes with all the specific flashcards that I showed you. So this is lesson specific and pre-made, but then at the end it's going to have a bunch of game cards and review games that our other download didn't have.
Okay.
So here we start getting into all the additional stuff of like random vocabulary games you could use as center activities, or just kind of like, hey, I have 5 minutes. Let's do this real quick.
Right.
And then the quiz at the end. And the quizzes are all higher level questions. So that means not basically all recall vocabulary, word, and definition. It is going to be a little more application.
Okay.
All right, so that shows you the extensive lesson plan. If you don't want a lesson plan from Learning A to Z, if you have your own and you all have worked very hard, you have your own vocabulary list, then you could just do it straight from scratch anywhere from the site. I could just clear my word list and I could start from whatever I want. So maybe I want my own science lesson, and I can find the word, find the specific definition I want, click on a hyperlink word, and it'll add to my list.
Okay.
And if you ever see a picture, it means it's going to come with a picture card and just this icon.
Okay.
So then you could search just the same, put in my own words, make my own list, and then it'll have that same pre-made flashcards, worksheets, and everything, but with the words that I want.
Right.
All right, well, that does wrap up what I had written down that I was going to show you as a quick overview.